Imagine a world where the very idea of logging on becomes as quaint as dialing a rotary phone, where the glowing rectangle in your pocket is no longer a portal, because the portal is everywhere. By 2050, the digital and physical will no longer exist as separate spheres. They will have fused into a single, coherent experience, a merged reality. This transformation begins with the disappearance of the screen as we know it. In its place, a gossamer, thin interface will live in your field of vision. For some, it might be a pair of elegant glasses. For others, a comfortable lens on the eye. This interface won't just project flat images. It will understand the geometry of the world around you in real time, binding information to objects and spaces with perfect fidelity. Walking down a city street, you'll see more than bricks and asphalt. The history of the building to your left might play out across its facade. Silent, ghostly figures from the past going about their business. The cafe on the corner will float its daily specials and wait time in the air beside its door. A friend, collaborating from across the globe, will appear as a photorealistic avatar sitting across from you at your physical desk. This isn't virtual reality where you escape the world. It's the world enhanced. The magic of this layer will be its context and intelligence. It won't be a constant barrage of notifications. It will be a subtle, ambient guide. Look at a complex piece of machinery, and a translucent schematic will overlay its internal workings. Struggle with a foreign language, and subtitles will gracefully appear beneath the speaker's mouth, or their words will seamlessly melt into your own tongue. A student studying astronomy won't look at a textbook picture of Saturn. They'll hold their hand up to the sky, and the ringed planet, to scale, will orbit their fingertips, with annotated moons trailing alongside. This shift will fundamentally alter human cognition and connection. Our relationship with knowledge will move from retrieval to recognition. You won't need to search for the name of a constellation. You'll simply look up and see them labeled, with myths from various cultures unfolding in the margins of the night. Our social interactions will be unshackled from geography. Shared experiences won't be confined to a video call in a window. You and a loved one, continents apart, could walk through the same virtual art gallery, seeing the same paintings and pointing to details in real space, your avatars reflecting your real gestures and expressions. But for this to feel natural, to move from a dazzling novelty to an unremarkable part of the fabric of life, the interface must be intuitive. It will respond not just to voice or gesture, but eventually to intention. A quiet thought, a flicker of curiosity, will be enough to summon relevant data. The line between thinking something and accessing it will blur. The ultimate goal is for the technology to recede, to become almost biological in its seamlessness. The digital layer won't feel like something you use. It will feel like a deeper, richer way of perceiving the world itself, a sixth sense for the information age, making the invisible visible, the distant immediate, and the complex beautifully, intuitively clear. This is the promise of the merged reality, not an escape from our world, but the awakening of a new depth within it. Picture the hum of a city, the distant groan of traffic, the hiss of bus brakes, the urgent shouts of delivery drivers. Now, listen again. In 2050, that soundtrack of human labor and logistical friction has been replaced by something else, a low, almost musical hum of efficiency. It is the sound of the autonomous everything. This is not merely about cars driving themselves, though that will be a mundane fact of life. This is about intelligence woven into the very fabric of our infrastructure, creating a world that manages itself. Look up. The sky, strictly regulated, will have gentle streams of delivery drones moving along invisible aerial highways, their routes optimized in real time to avoid each other and the weather. delivering everything from emergency medicine to a forgotten birthday gift. They are not independent actors, but neurons in a vast city-sized nervous system. Look down, the roads, now shared by self, driving pods and human-piloted vehicles for those who choose, are a continuous conversation. Sensors embedded in the asphalt communicate with vehicles, orchestrating flow so seamless that traffic lights become relics in a museum. Congestion isn't solved by building more roads, but by a fluid, responsive dance of machines talking to each other, smoothing peaks and redirecting flows like a maestro conducting an orchestra. Your vehicle is no longer a possession, but a service. It knows your schedule, and when you're not using it, it quietly slips away to serve someone else in a constant, elegant loop of shared utility. But this autonomy goes far beyond transit. It is in the environment itself. Consider the vast, hidden networks we rely on. The electrical grid is no longer a one-way street from power plant to outlet. It is a dynamic mesh. Your autonomous electric car, sitting idle, notices a spike in demand on the grid. In quiet negotiation with the system, it decides to sell a portion of its stored energy back to stabilize the network, earning you credit, all without you ever knowing. Water pipes self-diagnose tiny leaks before they burst. Farm fields are not monolithic blocks of crops, but living spreadsheets monitored by autonomous rovers and drones. They assess each individual plant, its health, hydration, and nutrient needs, dispensing water, fertilizer, or targeted treatment with sniper-like precision. Waste is collected not on a fixed schedule, but when smart bins signal they are full, optimizing truck routes and fuel. This creates a profound shift in the human role. The tedious, repetitive, and often dangerous jobs of monitoring, transporting, and managing physical systems are abdicated to a silent, relentless intelligence. This liberates human effort from the how and redirects it toward the why and the what next. The engineer doesn't spend her day diagnosing a pump failure. She designs the next generation of sustainable infrastructure. The farmer becomes a data-informed ecosystem manager. The city planner runs simulations on living digital twins of the metropolis. We are freed from operators to become designers, curators, and innovators. The world of 2050 will feel curiously quiet on the surface, but beneath that calm will thrum with an invisible, intelligent choreography, a planet increasingly running itself, not for its own sake, but to give us the most precious resource of all, the freedom to focus on what makes us uniquely human. Consider the most intimate relationship you will ever have, the one with your own body. For all of human history, that relationship has been defined by uncertainty, by mystery, and ultimately, by a kind of negotiated surrender to forces beyond our control. We fell ill, we aged, we broke. Medicine was largely a reactive art, a brave but often blunt response to a crisis already underway. By 2050, that ancient narrative is being rewritten. We are entering the era of the biology revolution, and it will transform our physical selves from fragile vessels into maintainable, editable, and deeply understood systems. The journey begins not in a hospital, but at birth. A newborn's genome, sequenced quickly and affordably, becomes their first and most important medical file. It is not a deterministic destiny, but a personalized forecast, a map of potential strengths and vulnerabilities. Your health care is no longer a series of generic checkups. It is a lifelong, proactive dialogue with this data. An algorithm, trained on billions of life paths, might gently nudge you. Based on your genomic profile, your optimal cardiovascular health requires this specific blend of nutrients and exercise intensity. Medicine shifts from a one-size-fits-all model to a bespoke regimen of prevention, But what happens when prevention is not enough? This is where the revolution moves from prediction to active editing. Inherited conditions, from cystic fibrosis to certain forms of blindness, are no longer life sentences. CRISPR and its far more precise successor technologies act as molecular scalpels, able to snip out erroneous genetic code and, in some cases, replace it with healthy sequences. This is not about creating designer babies, but about eradicating the source of profound suffering at its root. It is medicine moving from treating symptoms to rewriting the underlying instruction manual. Perhaps the most visceral symbol of this new era is the bioprinter. Imagine a device that looks like a sophisticated 3D printer, but instead of plastic, its cartridge is filled with a living bioink, gel suffused with your own stem cells. When an organ fails, surgeons won't wait for a donor. They will take a scan of the damaged tissue and send the file to the lab. Layer by microscopic layer, the bioprinter will construct a new heart valve, a patch of liver tissue, or a section of kidney. This is not a mechanical implant. It is living, growing you, designed for perfect compatibility. The concept of the transplant waiting list and the brutal immunosuppressant drugs that follow becomes a relic of a cruder age. All of this converges on the final frontier, aging itself. We are beginning to understand aging not as the slow tick of time, but as the accumulation of specific, addressable forms of cellular damage. By 2050, therapies will target these hallmarks of aging directly. Senescent zombie cells that clog tissues are cleared. Telomeres, the protective caps on our chromosomes, might be gently maintained. Mitochondrial function is restored. The goal is not necessarily immortality, a concept fraught with philosophical weight, but health span. The aim is to compress the period of decline, to ensure that our added years are vibrant, active, and free from the chronic frailty that has long been considered an inevitable part of growing old. In 2050, your body is no longer a mystery to be endured, but a complex, beautiful system to be understood, supported, and, when necessary, compassionately repaired. Picture the landscape of energy production today. Vast, centralized power plants, coal, gas, nuclear send their current humming across hundreds of miles of wire. Solar panels and wind turbines dot the countryside, but their contribution can feel intermittent, a helpful but unpredictable guest. By 2050, this entire architecture will have been redesigned from the ground up. What emerges is not just a new set of power sources, but a new philosophy of energy itself, intelligent, visible, and woven into the fabric of daily life. This is the energy transformation. The most visible change will be in the skyline and on the rooftops. Solar capture will have evolved far beyond the rigid blue panels we know today. Buildings will be clad in photovoltaic glass windows that generate power while maintaining perfect clarity. Every surface that faces the sun becomes a subtle, silent generator. Wind energy, too, will become more elegant and integrated, with compact, bladeless turbines humming on urban rooftops and sleek vertical axis designs turning gracefully in suburban yards. Renewables are no longer an alternative. They are the default, the aesthetic, and the first layer of a multi-layered system. But the sun sets, and the wind can still. The breakthrough that moves us from a renewable, assisted grid to a truly post-carbon civilization is the arrival of nuclear fusion. By 2050, the first commercial fusion plants will likely be coming online. Unlike today's fission reactors, fusion does not produce long-lived radioactive waste. Its fuel is derived from water and is virtually limitless. It promises a baseline of immense, constant, and clean power. the ultimate complement to the daily rhythms of sun and wind. The decades-long quest to bottle a miniature star will have finally provided the steady heartbeat for our civilization. Yet, the true genius of the 2050 energy system lies not just in its sources, but in its intelligence and decentralization. Your home, your car, your office building, they are no longer passive consumers. They are active, intelligent nodes in a dynamic network, a concept known as the smart grid. Your electric vehicle isn't just a car, it's a massive battery on wheels. At 2 p.m., when solar production peaks, it soaks up cheap, clean energy. At 7 p.m., during peak demand, it might sell a portion of that stored power back to the neighborhood, earning you money and stabilizing the local grid without a single power plant ramping up. Your home battery system negotiates in real time, deciding whether to draw from the roof, the car, or the grid based on price and carbon intensity. This creates a resilient, democratic energy landscape. Massive, vulnerable centralized systems give way to a distributed web of generation and storage. Communities can become largely self-sufficient. The fear of blackouts recedes as the grid self-heals, rerouting power like internet traffic around a problem. The very language of energy crisis begins to fade, replaced by a quiet confidence in an abundant, flowing, and intelligent resource. The energy transformation, therefore, is more than technical. It is a fundamental rewiring of our relationship with power, turning it from a scarce commodity we burn into a plentiful, flowing current we harness and share with the quiet, seamless intelligence of nature itself. Consider the moment of a great human insight: a scientist staring at perplexing data, an artist facing a blank canvas, a strategist weighing impossible choices. There is a flash, a connection made, a path seen that wasn't visible before. It is a profoundly solitary, human spark. Now, imagine that spark having a collaborator, not a tool, but a partner with a complementary form of intelligence. By 2050, this will be our new reality. We will move from using artificial intelligence to the cognitive partnership. Today's AI is a powerful savant. It can recognize patterns in massive datasets, translate languages, or beat us at complex games. But it operates on the periphery of our cognition. We give it a task, and it delivers a result. The AI of 2050 will be woven into the very process of thought itself. It will be less like a calculator and more like an intuitive colleague sitting beside you in your mind's eye. For the scientist, this partnership will be transformative. She won't just feed data into a model. She will explore a hypothesis in a shared conceptual space. The AI might simulate 10,000 virtual experiments overnight, not just to provide an answer, but to reveal unexpected correlations, to whisper, "Have you considered the influence of this variable? Look at this anomaly." It will be a tireless, infinitely patient co-theorist, taking on the brute force computation to free her for the leaps of intuition and creative synthesis that remain uniquely human. This partnership will redefine creativity, not replace it. An architect grappling with a design could converse with an AI partner. Give me 10 structural options for this cantilever that minimize material use. He might ask. In moments, he reviews elegant, alien forms optimized by algorithms in ways a human mind could never iteratively draft. But his role is now elevated. He is the curator, the emotional compass. He selects the form that feels right, that evokes the intended emotion, and then asks the AI to refine it with that human aesthetic as the new guiding parameter. The AI handles the physics, the human provides the soul. It becomes a symbiotic loop of iteration and inspiration. The most personal impact, however, will be on our daily cognition and decision-making. Your cognitive partner will be your personalized tutor, researcher, and devil's advocate. Preparing for a crucial decision, you won't just list pros and cons, you'll have a dialogue, model the likely outcomes of option over 5 years. You'll instruct. The AI will run simulations based on vast historical and real-time data, presenting not a single prediction, but a nuanced map of probabilities and unintended consequences you might have missed. It will challenge your biases by asking, what evidence would change your mind? It will be the ultimate sounding board, amplifying your intelligence by providing depth, context, and foresight. This is the core of the partnership, amplification, not replacement. The AI of 2050 will not seek to mimic human consciousness. It will excel at what machines do best: processing, simulating, optimizing, and remembering on a scale we cannot. This liberates us to focus on what we do best: wondering, feeling, judging, imagining, and dreaming. The fear of being replaced by machines will gradually give way to the excitement of being augmented by them. Our unique human spark, that flash of insight, that emotional resonance, that moral judgment, will remain central. But it will be a spark that now has the fuel of a boundless, collaborative intellect to ignite into a flame that illuminates the future.